Can I ask a couple of questions here? I want to come back to the entrepreneurial stuff just really quick. Do you, and I know you always, and I've talked to you a couple of times, you always hesitate a little bit to give too much advice on the entrepreneurial stuff. You're careful a little bit.
Well, it's not that I'm careful. I'm honest. I mean, anyone who gives you real advice has their head up their ass. And I'm not trying to be, funny when I say that. Like, here's the thing. Okay, we're going to get really deep. Let's go back to the big bang.
Let's do it.
Human beings, the entire process of thinking is fundamentally designed to try to figure out what we need to do to be happy in some imagined future, some distance from now, a moment, a minute, a year, whatever. Okay. Here's what we forget. We forget that we're really, really bad at predicting this. The things that we thought would make us happy didn't. If we get them, the things that we thought we'd never get over, we get over. We're really bad at imagining how we're going to feel in the future under some imaginary circumstance. We're even worse at remembering how bad we are. And we think we're special. We think that, that, let's say, think about winning the lottery. Well, we hear about lottery winners that they're no happier than they were before they won the lottery, but we think, yeah, but if I won, I'm special. So because we're always trying to figure out what's going to make us happy in the future, the next thing we do is try to figure out how to get there. And what we do is that we look at other things and try to come up with stories about how someone seemed to get to this future that we want, ignoring again that if you met that person, you would find out they're no happier than you are.
Right.
Probably worse in many circumstances.
Right. Yep.
Well, what we're doing is called hindsight bias and survivorship bias. We're looking at the people who happen to survive and get to what we want after they've already done it. We're not looking at the myriad of other people and companies that started at the same time that had all the exact same things in place and fell apart for some reason. For a long time, Enron was one of the greatest companies of all time. Right before IBM laid off 20,000 people, they were one of the greatest hiring companies around. People forget that Apple during the 90s was a giant piece of shit company. They had done the Newton and a bunch of other things that failed miserably. The Lisa, people were thinking this company was on the way out. Remember Nokia?
Yeah.
They owned cell phones.
That's right.
Owned it. Remember Motorola when they then owned cell phones?
Yeah. Yep.
So we just forget all these things. And so I'm not going to give anyone, there's no prescription for doing this. I mean,
there's no clear, like, here's the exact plan, black and white. Yeah. It just doesn't.
No. But now the flip side is there are some things that you can be aware of about how you fail. And it doesn't prevent you from falling into these same circumstances, but at least you're doing it knowingly. So for example, if you walk up to, you meet people, most people in business have stories of, revenue and income going up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
Talk to someone who's had their revenue hit the floor a few times, and then ask them, if you were teaching a college course on how to fail, what would you teach? They get very animated. If you're giving a how-to on how to go from, $100,000 a day to nothing, what would you teach? They get very animated. And they say things like, we got really overextended. We had, we were over leveraged. And then something happened that we didn't predict and we couldn't pay the bills, or we had a competitor that, figured out what we did and found a way to do it better. Or there were some other competitors who, like what happened with my software company, they just did an underhanded thing and pulled the market out from underneath me. Or, there's, those things are very teachable lessons, but they're not sexy. They don't tell you how to get what you want. They don't tell you that you're going to be happy when you have $1 million in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, whichever stupid car you want to buy. And, and you're on wife number 5 or whatever it is, the advice just allows us to live in a vacuum. Look, I'm going to rail on someone in particular.
Okay.
And maybe he'll call me and we'll argue about it. So one of the people, so I would like to take all the books about, how to build a successful business, especially if it's the inner game of building a business or, the secrets of building a business. I want to take all those books and burn them. And I want to take all the TED Talks about that and destroy them. And one of the ones that I find the most repugnant, what the hell, is the one from Simon Sinek saying, it's all about, you have to have a why. Complete bullshit.
Is it?
Because, there are lots of companies who don't have some hoity-toity why. They just wanted to make some money. They just wanted to keep food on the family's table or whatever the line is, or, they had horrible, or they just stumbled on something and made a shit ton of cash before they even knew what the hell they were doing. I mean, for us, that was we didn't make a shit ton of cash, but for us, we had some ideas, but we didn't have some big why. That really evolved as we understood what the hell we were doing. But even still, it's not the same. So he uses Apple as an example, again, forgetting that Apple was a piece of crap company in the 90s. And there are innumerable examples of companies with great why stories that have failed miserably.
Yeah.
There are great stories, innumerable stories of companies that you find just repulsive, that make more money than you can't even count the number of zeros they make. It's just selective reasoning. But here's the thing. It makes us feel good because we can't control all these things out there. And we know that. So if someone gives you something that you think you control, like come up with a good mission statement, you feel better. You feel like you've got some control over the universe. This is going to sound like it's a weird thing, but it's highly related. Almost every system for making money in the stock market focuses on when you get into this stock, when you buy the stock, when you start the trade. But you don't make money till you get out of the trade.
Right.
And in fact, if you look at your statement from a brokerage, let's say you bought something at 10 and now it's at 20. So that $10 profit there, it's not profit. On your statement, it says unrealized profits.
Right.
It's not real until you exit, until you get out of the market, until you stop trading. And it's just the same thing in business. These are all, we think of all these things there. Look, when you call me a success, I literally have no frame of reference for that. I'm a guy working his ass off every day. And we're paying ourselves about a quarter to a fifth of what people who do our jobs in big companies get.
That's good.
Yep. And maybe someday someone's going to offer us a big wad of cash. Somebody, look, I'll be honest. We have a fractional CFO that we do some work with who said to Lena and me, if somebody offered you $40 million, but you knew they were going to trash the company, would you take it? Without missing a beat, we said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
She said, what about $100 million? We said, okay, so you called us a whore and you're right. I mean, at a certain level, I'm a 57-year-old guy.
Do you think it's critical to do something that ties to a personal passion? And the reason I ask that is because
No.
Okay.
For me, that's the only way I can do it. It doesn't, if I'm not really interested, it doesn't get me out of bed.
Right.
But who cares what I do? I know a lot of people who have businesses where their personal passion is making money.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
I mean, do you think people in the vending machine business feel a personal passion for selling potato chips and candy? No, they found a business that allows them to have a great lifestyle. I mean, if they do it well, they have a great lifestyle without a whole lot of work.
Gotcha.
I'm all for doing something that allows you to live the life that you want to live. And you don't need to justify it to anybody else by saying you're changing the world. We're trying to change the world. We didn't set out that way, but the more we got into seeing what the footwear industry is and does, and what products like ours are and do, we're on fire, because I don't like it when people make a living lying to other people. I just didn't know the extent of it when I started. I learned that very quickly, and it was shocking.
Would you encourage startups to do this, to get on social media early and get a following even before?
I encourage them to participate in the conversations that are relevant for the product that they think they're going to be offering.
Okay.
See what people are saying, see what people are doing, see what they're happy with, see what they're frustrated with, provide value in some way by participating in the conversation, not trying to sell something. And if you understand what's going on enough, then when you're ready to offer something, people already know who you are. You built up some trust. There's an opportunity. There's a friend of mine years ago had a line. He says, making money is easy. Just figure out where the money is flowing and get in the way. And so if there's an audience that you think is going to be relevant for you, see where they're already spending their money or want to be spending their money. And just, your job is just to get in the way.